Hey kids, it's July 6th, Monday. Today I went to the office for an event where I was supposed to give a presentation. The event was cancelled about 15 minutes before it was due to begin, which was frustrating because it was pretty much the main reason I had traveled to the office. But it wasn't a big problem. I still had some valuable conversations and productive meetings, so the trip was worthwhile after all. Later, I came home and picked up the older one of you early. We tried to visit the small theme park we're fortunate to have in our neighborhood, but apparently our membership had expired. We'll need to renew it. Still, we spent some good time together. We played with water in the garden, laughed, and enjoyed the afternoon. Then something happened in the kitchen. One of you was sitting at the table, eating a chocolate bar. I was nearby, probably putting something into the refrigerator, loading the dishwasher, or pretending to be more organized than I actually am. Then you looked at me and asked, "Daddy, do you know who I love the most in our family?" I said, "No, tell me." You smiled and said, "My little brother." That made me happy. It was beautiful to hear how much you loved him. Then, after a small pause, you continued, "Second is Mommy. And third is you, Daddy." I have to be honest. For a brief moment, my heart sank a little. I wasn't angry, I wasn't offended, but I felt a small sadness. No parent dreams of coming third. Most parents probably want to be first, or at least tied for first. And for a moment, the childish part of me thought, wait a minute, I lost. But then I paused. I looked at what was actually happening in front of me, and a much stronger feeling replaced the sadness. Pride. Not pride about being third, of course. I felt proud because you had told me the truth. You didn't try to protect my ego. You didn't search for the answer you thought would make me happy. You simply described what was inside your heart at that moment. And that meant something important. It meant you felt safe enough to be honest with me. In some families, children learn very early that certain truths are dangerous. They learn that if they say something uncomfortable, the adult may become angry, or cold, or offended, or distant. So children begin editing themselves. They hide what they really think. They say whatever keeps the peace. From the outside, that can look like respect, but often it isn't respect, it is fear. And I never want you to feel that you must lie to me in order to protect my feelings. So although hearing that I was third hurt a little, I was also deeply grateful, because you trusted me enough to tell me something I might not enjoy hearing. Then I became curious. I asked, "What do you love about Mommy? What makes the difference?" And your answer was wonderfully simple. You said, "She is softer and gentler." Then you added, "You get angry more quickly, and sometimes you shout." There it was, clear, honest, painfully useful. Sometimes wisdom comes from philosophers. Sometimes it comes from a child eating chocolate in the kitchen. Today, you gave me a mirror. Not a cruel mirror, not a judgmental one. A loving and honest mirror. You weren't saying, "Daddy, I don't love you." You were saying, "Daddy, I love you, but this part of you sometimes makes it harder for me to feel close and safe." That is important feedback. I asked whether the difference between your love for your mother and your love for me was very large. You said, "No, it's not very big. That's just the order in my mind." I admit, that made me feel much better. I know how deeply you love your brother and your mother, so being close behind them is still a very good place to be. But your answer also gave me something to work toward. Not the goal of winning a competition. Love within a family should never become a competition. My goal is not to move up a ranking. My goal is to become safer, gentler, slower to anger. I want to become the kind of father whose strength does not need to shout. One of the mistakes adults often make is confusing volume with power. We think that if we raise our voices, people will understand that we are serious. We think loudness makes us stronger. But very often, shouting is not strength. It is a loss of control dressed up as power. Real strength looks different. Real strength appears when anger is rising, but you pause. When your body wants to react, but your values tell you to wait. When you correct someone without humiliating them. When your child makes a mistake, but still feels loved and safe. That does not mean parents should never be firm. Children need boundaries, they need guidance, they need adults who can say, "No, this is not acceptable. This is dangerous. This behavior needs to stop." But there is a difference between being firm and being frightening. There is a difference between guidance and explosion. There is a difference between correcting a child's behavior and making the child feel small. And apparently, this is an area where I still have work to do. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that adults are still learning too. Even people who talk about wisdom, patience, courage, discipline, and self-control still fail to practice them sometimes. Talking about virtue is easy. Living it in a messy kitchen when everyone is tired and someone has ignored your request for the 10th time, that is the real test. The test comes when something inside you wants to react badly, and you choose not to be ruled by it. I know I have repeated this idea in several of these talks, but I repeat it because it matters deeply to me as a father. When a child doesn't listen, it usually isn't a personal attack. When a child makes a mess, it isn't an insult. When a child is slow, distracted, emotional, or loud, they are not deliberately trying to ruin a parent's day. They are children. They are still learning how to regulate their emotions, how to communicate, how to control impulses, how to live among other people. They are learning how to be human. And honestly, so am I. So is everyone else. That moment in the kitchen reminded me that children are always observing their parents. Not only when we give advice, not only when we make speeches. You watch how we behave when we're tired, how we speak when we're frustrated, whether we apologize after making a mistake, whether our love remains steady when life becomes difficult. Parents live under a kind of constant observation, and slowly, children learn from what they see. So your honesty gave me a gift today. It hurt a little, but it helped much more than it hurt. It reminded me who I want to become. I want to become a father you do not need to perform for. A father you do not need to lie to. A father who can hear the truth without punishing the messenger. I think I did a reasonably good job of that today. I didn't become angry. I didn't tell you that your feelings were wrong. I listened. I asked questions, and I tried to understand. But this lesson is not only for me. One day, someone who loves you may give you uncomfortable feedback. Your first instinct may be to defend yourselves. Your ego may say, "That isn't true." Your pride may say, "They don't understand me." Your mind may immediately prepare a long explanation beginning with, "Yes, but..." Try to pause before you do that. Sometimes the wisest first response is simply, "Thank you for telling me." Then ask yourselves, is there something true here? Not every criticism will be fair. Not every opinion about you will be accurate. You should not blindly accept everything people say. But when someone who knows and loves you tells you something sincerely, especially when you hear the same message more than once, pay attention. Honest feedback can be painful because it threatens the picture we have of ourselves. But that doesn't make it an attack. Sometimes it is an invitation to grow. So thank you for telling me the truth today. Thank you for trusting me with your little heart. Thank you for giving me a mirror. And thank you for reminding me that being a good father is not about demanding first place in your heart. It is about becoming someone whose love feels safe, steady, and gentle enough to deserve a place there. I hope I am wise enough to use the gift you gave me. And do not ever forget, I love you both very, very much.